Jamie, thank you very much for joining the Race4Rene YouTube videos, and other locations too, I'm sure. But first of all, do a quick introduction to yourself and tell us a little bit about how you knew René.
So I knew René through a couple of ways at university. First of all, I was very good friends with his housemate, so I saw him a lot through there. And then later on in my final year, I rode with him at Bristol while he was a novice, and rode with him in a boat a couple of times. So always had really fond memories of René, and it's just a huge shock to hear about his suicide the year after he left Bristol.
What was he like as a person? What was his personality?
He's always just really lovely, really funny. Always, seemingly the life of the room. Always seemed, from the outside at least, to be one of the most confident, lovely people you'd ever meet. To be honest, that's my impression of him. I think that was what everyone felt about him. To be honest.
And then a couple of years ago, events took over, and do you remember hearing the news?
Yeah, I do. So I just remember I was sat in my seat doing my research for my university course, and Mickey texted me and just said that René had taken his life, and I had no idea what to respond to that, what to say, what to do at that point. I think I just stared at it for a good 10 minutes before I even knew what to reply, what to say, and it really did shock me.
The impact it had on you and people around you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so one thing I do really remember is, I think the day after or the weekend after we found out the news, the whole rowing community at Bristol, we all came together just at a local pub, and we just sat around and just talked about what we remembered about René, and it really brought us all together. But it was all just really, every one of us there was completely shocked and just appalled that this had happened. It was really a tough time. I remember it was January 2017, and it was really tough for all of us, especially having seen René, many of us, the day before at the I believe it was Quinton Head race. He was rowing for Imperial, and a lot of the Bristol guys, we all met up with him, and it seemed fine, but you just never know. It's really the toughest thing.
I mean, some of the charities that Race4Rene are supporting, PAPYRUS and Bereavement UK, talk about being able to get help, being able to provide support for people who have gone through these kind of experiences. But at that time, did you feel you knew who to talk to, or you could get help and support from, apart from each other?
No, well, as you say, it was very much we relied on each other. I was really not aware of any of the charities like PAPYRUS, really fantastic work, and child bereavement as well. But no, I can't say that I ever really considered reaching out to them, although it probably would have been a big help. To be honest, I think it's often difficult to know exactly where to turn to in those sorts of situations, especially when it is so unique to that situation and to that person.
Sure.
It's really difficult, I think.
And then Max called you up and said, "Hey, let's sail across the Atlantic." Well, a pretty random. I mean, there must be easier ways to raise money or awareness than, bring and buy sale, a coffee morning, but race across the Atlantic. I mean, what a great challenge.
Yeah, no, I think it would be a fantastic opportunity. It's not something that everyone gets to do in their lifetime, which I think, I think that I can actually say it's a huge thing, and everyone's like shocked when they hear about it, which I think is really a good way to get people talking about the campaign wider and discussing mental health. Often you need something. It's often difficult to talk about it on its own, and so you have something like this to tie into. So we're doing this race, we're doing this race for René in memory to raise awareness. I think it's a fantastic thing. I think Max has done a brilliant job so far in organising everything. Really excited to see how the next few months go.
What are some of the challenges you think you're going to have in preparing for the race, and then spending 3 weeks or more cooped up with this group of people?
Yeah, so
a great group of people, but after 3 weeks you might think,
No, I think spending that length of time with anyone is will test you, even the strongest of friendships. So I think that's going to be tough. But like I said, it's not it's the end point of the campaign, but really it's just something that we're using to get people talking. It's really 3 weeks on the boat is going to be tough, but that's really nothing in comparison to what some people go through and what René went through, and I think that's the most important thing to talk about that. It's just a case of getting through those 3 weeks, I suppose.
You'll sail through it, literally.
Yes.
It will be tough, but it'll be a good experience and perhaps a good opportunity as a group to kind of talk about what you've experienced and support each other. What do you hope will be the legacy, René's legacy, that comes out of the Race4Rene and hopefully the awareness that you can help build?
Yeah, I just hope that it encourages people to discuss it a little bit more openly. I think one of the sort of campaign stages we've been using is silence feeds the stigma around mental health, and if you don't talk about it and you don't hear people talking about it, it does become very hard to open up and discuss how you're feeling. So I think if we can encourage people to discuss it more openly and be more open with their friends and their family about these kind of things, really if we can make any dent in the vast number of young people, and particularly young men, taking their own lives, if we can help a few people, I think that would be a really worthwhile thing. And, all the hard work after that will just be, it's not important if we made that sort of difference. I think that's one of the things we want to try and do with this.
And if someone's watching this who's perhaps got suicidal thoughts themselves, or knows somebody who might have, or perhaps is affected by someone who has taken their own life, what message would you have for those people about the future and support that might be there?
I think the best thing I can say was just to talk to someone, talk to anyone. It often feels that you convince yourself that no one's going to care or no one wants to hear it or anything like that. I think the best thing you can do is just open up to someone and say, look, I'm having some problems with this, can I talk to you about it? I think that's the most important thing. If you feel that way, you convince yourself that these thoughts aren't valid or someone's not going to care, but really you just got to accept that what you're feeling is real, and you need to talk about that and not take it, try and battle it on your own, I suppose.
Support is there if you need.
Yeah, I hope that's one of the key messages. That I personally hope that if any of my friends were feeling that way, they would be able to feel like they could talk to me about it, which I think is something that we should all try and aim for, to be open and approachable about this sort of thing.
Jamie, thank you very much. We'll talk many times more between now and after the race, but thank you for taking part in this video.
Thank you very much.
Good to speak with you, and good luck for Race4Rene.
Thank you very much.